The previous episode of The Clone Wars Season 7 was titled A Distant Echo, and this is by far the creepiest episode I have ever seen regarding The Clone Wars. Seeing Echo actually made my jaw drop. It's disturbing, and I love it. Beyond that, I also loved the actual clarity on whether Obi-Wan knows about Anakin and Padme. It made for a hilarious moment in this episode. So with all that said, let's recap this episode. We begin back on Fort Anaxes. Captain Rex, Anakin, and Hunter are all waiting to get the go-ahead from the Jedi Council to go to Skako Minor, where it is revealed that the Separatist War algorithm is actually Echo, sending out a live signal. Echo lives, or at least Rex firmly believes this. The looming concern throughout the episode is that the search for Echo will be a futile one, ending up in everybody becoming trapped. However, as stated in this episode, almost every mission could be considered a trap. Hunter expressed that he thinks the entire thing is a bad idea, and that Clone Force 99 will go either way just because he wants to say I told you so. Again, I said in my review of episode 1 that I really like this group, Clone Force 99. They definitely are an arrogant bunch, but they are fun to watch. And it seems that my TMNT assessment of their characters is something that a lot of other folks picked up on. I think it's a great dynamic in my opinion, even if at times it's a bit on the nose. I'm looking at you, Tech. Next, we have the funniest and also most heartwarming part of this episode. Rex is eager to embark on their mission regardless of permission, but Anakin reminds Rex that he has that thing to do. Hunter goes off by himself, and Rex and Anakin walk over to the clone barracks. Rex remains outside on the lookout for Obi-Wan, and Anakin takes Rex's helmet inside with him, pretending that he's going to repair something. I love the idea of Rex covering for Anakin's secret love affair, with the added layer that it's not really a secret. Plus, this interaction between Anakin and Padme gives some nice context to add to our collective consciousness in regards to how difficult it is for both of them being away from one another. Duty calls on all fronts, and Padme is no exception. Rex ends up seeing Obi-Wan approaching their location with a smile on his face. I'm not sure why, but watching Obi-Wan casually wave at Rex from a distance, then it cutting to his smiling face up close, made me laugh out loud. I audibly giggled while watching this with my wife. Most likely, she now thinks I'm insane, but this entire part of the show was so funny for me. Rex bangs on the door, alerting Anakin that Obi-Wan has arrived, so he better wrap it up ASAP. Anakin tells Padme that he's worried about Rex, and that he's allowing his personal feelings to drive him on this mission. But Padme quickly reminds Anakin that he also operates just like this. It's where Rex learned this trait from. Padme tells Anakin to be on Rex's side on this one particular thing, because Rex has always been there for Anakin when he takes risks in battle. Now, as a viewer, to me it's so obvious that Padme is pregnant. Her hand is on her stomach as well, and there isn't any mention of this between them, but regardless of the logistics of her pregnancy and where we are in the timeline within Revenge of the Sith, this moment really worked well at demonstrating the longing that they have to see each other again. Outside, Obi-Wan knows something is up because Rex is fumbling to come up with a good reason as to why he is there blocking the barrack entrance. Rex says Anakin is spot checking his gear, and Obi-Wan knows that this is a lie. However, at that moment, the door opens and Anakin tosses Rex's helmet back and basically ignores the fact that Obi-Wan is right there. Obi-Wan tries to get a word in about the fact that the council has denied permission to go on this mission to Skako Minor, but Anakin talks over Obi-Wan saying there's no time, they gotta get going. And finally, Obi-Wan can't seem to get Anakin's attention, so he says, "Hope you told Padme I said hello." The gig is up, and the face Anakin gives when he looks back at Obi-Wan is so good. Anakin is pissed, but at the same time, Obi-Wan ultimately committed the same sin in the eyes of the Jedi Order, that of falling in love and having his own romantic entanglement. So of course, Obi-Wan understands and intuits what's going on. While en route to Skako Minor, the Bad Batch and Anakin are prepping for their rescue operation. I love the quick scene of Wrecker one-arm bench pressing a gonk droid while eating meat. It's so ridiculous that it works. Again, these guys are the fun to watch, morally questionable warrior trope dudes, and they live up to that concept to a T. It appears that through some minor chit-chat on the ship, Clone Force 99 doesn't really report to anybody, and if they do, it's a secret. I'm not one of the people who has watched the show reels or knows of any of these arcs at all, so if that's part of what is coming up, sweet. If not, no biggie. But it is interesting to consider that they might not report to any Jedi or clone commanders. Finally, we land on Skako Minor. It looks like a hellscape with some less than desirable weather, and there are also gigantic winged aliens called Kirdaks, which the primitive natives to the planet ride and also worship. Basically, it's the Na'vi of Star Wars. One of those winged reptiles, along with their local chief, ends up attacking their ship and takes Anakin hostage. Luckily, Crosshair and Hunter pull what I call the Mando maneuver and use a grappling hook so Hunter can catch a ride with the Kirdak. This leads him to the location where the Politeks live. This is the native tribe tribe, the primitive culture that lives on this planet, and the rest of the team hones in on Hunter's signal. Because there is a strict no casualty rule on this mission, the Bad Batch uses a rock slide tactic, which is basically rolling a giant boulder down a hill that shows a display of power against the primitive Politics. The main reason Anakin was taken was that this tribe of aliens doesn't want the Republic's war on their planet at all, and Tech ends up being the bridge for communication thanks to his ability to translate the natives' language. Tech lets the Politics know that it wasn't them who brought the war, but Wat Tambor and the Separatists. They are only there to rescue a comrade. Ultimately, the two groups settle their differences and apologize, and the chief of the Politics ends up giving Anakin some of his own men to help lead them to Wat Tambor's city. But that's all that they will offer. And after this, we see Admiral Trench end up contacting Wat Tambor to alert him to the fact that the Republic figured out what was behind their algorithm, and that the attack is imminent. Tambor is under the impression that the Republic would never attack because the Techno Union has corporate neutrality on this planet, but Trench says that it won't matter. The attack is coming. The next bit in this episode gave me a laugh too. The group has been led to just outside of the boundaries of Tambor City. They are on a rock formation that's extremely high, and Wrecker ends up saying that he's not afraid of anything, but that when he's up real high, he has a problem with gravity. I love how matter-of-fact he is about that, but yeah, Wrecker is scared of heights. Now, we finally enter into some of that friction we saw from episode 1 concerning Clone Force 99 and their attitudes towards clones and other people in general. They are almost heartless in a way, and Crosshair is the most heartless of them all. Echo's signal has been going in and out, which leads some of the Bad Batch to again question if all of this is just a trap or if Echo is even alive. And this puts Rex back on the defense. There is no other option than Echo being alive for Rex, and it's a problem because it's getting in the way of his performance. Crosshair provokes Rex by saying Rex left Echo for dead anyway at the Citadel, and caps it off with saying he would have left him for dead too because Echo is just another reg. Rex flat out punches Crosshair, and a fight breaks out with Wrecker grabbing Rex and lifting him right up. Anakin is the only one to put a stop to this fight and decides that he needs to talk with Rex, but I'll admit that I am surprised that Anakin didn't have any harsh words towards Clone Force 99. He just sends them off to go scout. Anakin tells Rex that he needs to prepare himself for all possibilities. Echo might legitimately be dead. Rex states that he never tries to hang on to his fallen brother's deaths, but the fact that he has heard the actual voice of Echo changed everything for him. Either way, Rex admits that if he's wrong, he will deal with it himself. Tech ends up regaining Echo's signal while Anakin and Rex meet back up with the team. Tech ends up hacking a door to a lift, and Anakin reminds them all that this is a stealth mission. Unfortunately, Wrecker is there with them. The second the lift door opens, D-Wing battle droids are there, leading Wrecker to charge out in a mindless frenzy. I loved when Rex looks at Anakin and says, "So much for stealth," like he's over the tactics of the Bad Batch at this point. And I think the reason we don't hear any heroic music under this scene is also to hammer home that the Bad Batch did something tactically dumb here. Even when Wrecker yells in satisfaction over this brief battle, there's no music. There's only a cut to everybody else staring at him like, come on, man. And as they make their way through this tower, Echo's signal again goes out. However, it is deduced by Tech that it's only when Echo transmits data that the signal goes online. So they just need to wait for him to do that again so they can get a lock on his signal. And because of this, they split up into two teams. Anakin ends up in a situation where he needs to fight off some D-Wing battle droids alone, while Tech, Rex, Hunter, and Wrecker locate the room that's holding Echo. Wat Tambor ends up on the viewing screen, telling the clones that they are all so predictable, and that he has used the algorithm to predict their every move. This ends up violating the Techno Union's neutrality. Since Rex believes Echo is on the other side of the door, he calls out Tambor for his violation. He's brought a Republic prisoner to Skeko Minor, but Tambor tells Rex Echo is dead, and his mind is theirs. More D-Wing droids show up, and Tambor tells the droids to execute everybody. This skirmish is really fun to watch, but mostly it's because we finally get to see Anakin in action for longer than just a few seconds. Anakin slices as many droids as possible, while the Bad Batch also steps into high gear, eliminating the droid threat. And finally, Anakin orders Tech to help Rex get into the room where Echo is presumably being held, while they hold back the remaining droids. Tech cracks through the door, and both he and Rex enter into this room that has a stasis chamber in it. Clearly, this is where all of Echo's data is being filtered into and sent out of. Tech also picks up a life form within the stasis chamber. He uses his skills to open it, and finally, as I said, the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in a Clone Wars episodes occurs. A decimated Echo, looking like an extra from the Matrix, falls forward out of the chamber. But this fall is stopped short abruptly because of the cables connected to his body. It really really reminds me of dead Emperor Palpatine on his weird mech arm, and we see the damage that has been done to Echo's body from the prior Citadel explosion. Echo is like a Star Wars Frankenstein's monster. He's got prosthetic limbs, burns, almost putrid looking flesh. It's gross, but it's also extremely sad to see. When we see the close-up of Echo's face, we see that the info from his mind is being turned into some kind of digital information and then turned into battle strategies. It's like his eyes are analyzing the data crossing through his mind. Rex gets Echo's body onto the floor, and he eventually comes to and wakes up out of the induced coma that he was placed in. Echo is starting to make sense of where he is, and he's struck by the fact that Rex came back for him. Rex tells Echo he's safe now, that he's finally going home, and then the episode ends. This episode was honestly one of the best Clone Wars episodes I've ever seen. I know that's a bold statement, but it's what I'm gonna stick by. Sure, I've already talked about how amazing the animation looks in this season, as well as how high fidelity the audio and score is. It's like they want you to hear every tiny piece of audio in these new episodes. But for me, the reason this episode really got to me and elevated to one of the best episodes ever was Echo and Rex. The bonds between these clones in the show is one of my favorite aspects to the Clone Wars series, and hopefully the Bad Batch arc isn't heading into this tragic direction with Echo. Again, I'm not privy to the show reel, so please don't post what happens down below if you happen to know that information, but please do tell me what you think about this previous episode. May the Force be with you. AT-AT is signing off.